Hey guys, what's going on? You're all doing alright? I hope you're all having an amazing week so far. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to the AHSOKA Tano series, given that this is going to be a show that's going to be heavily based on Star Wars Legends. It's going to set up Heir to the Empire. It's also going to actually make its way into the Dave Filoni Star Wars film. Now, we do know that John and Dave have been talking greatly about this so far and have really been teasing about what's to come for the AHSOKA series at large. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And without further ado, let's get right into exactly what to expect for the AHSOKA Tano series, what Lucasfilm recently said, and exactly what John and Dave had to tease about the ending of the AHSOKA series itself. Now, we know that the AHSOKA show is going to be a very big cinematic-like event. They wanted to make sure that it was going to feel like a movie, flow like a film, and look exactly like a movie in theaters. That was their approach, and Andor kind of did that very well too. And John and Dave actually took a lot of great advice from Tony Gilroy on how to really make that happen properly. They had Timothy Zahn looking over things, for the characters of Thrawn and the Dark Jedi, such as Shin Hati, as well as Baylan Skoll, who's portrayed by Ray Stevenson. Rest in peace to him, by the way. And we have a lot of great things to cover here about what John and Dave recently had to say about Star Wars AHSOKA. So let's dive right into all of this and exactly what's really happening. Now, with Lucasfilm and Disney getting ready to promote the AHSOKA Tano series further, both John and Dave Filoni had this to state about the ending of the AHSOKA Tano series to the fans. Now, Jon Favreau first stated the following. Well, with this show, we wanted to really focus on the ending having this big climax, this big cliffhanger that is going to lead to Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie and the second season of AHSOKA. We wanted to focus on a character's sacrifice and doing something very unexpected with good guys like Ezra Bridger, Sabine Wren, and AHSOKA. We are going to touch on this big revelation related to a new way to utilize the Force, and much of this is going to be heavily teased at the end of the show. If I had to hint at one thing here, let's just say the good guys aren't going to benefit from the story at the end, and the bad guys will have some level of the upper hand. It's a roll of the dice for sure, but it's going to be different for fans, and I think that they're going to love it. Now, let me just stop here quickly. Now, Dave Filoni, of course, is a guy that really spent a lot of his time on this thing, and Jon Favreau put it out there just now that they wanted to make sure that this series is going to actually conclude with a very big cliffhanger, and how the Force is going to be utilized in a very different way. Exactly what do they mean by the Force is going to be used in a different way? Well, this could very well have a lot to do with Project Necromancer. And I don't know if you guys know much about Project Necromancer, but it is and has been reported to be the canon version of the Blackwing virus, essentially, where basically the dead get reanimated. Now, we know that Thrawn has a specific army in the AHSOKA series where the Stormtrooper armor has like these gold cracks in them, and reportedly they are alive and, of course, awoken from their dead bodies, essentially. They're not like zombies in the traditional sense, let's just be clear about that. They are supposedly powered by Sith alchemy, which reanimates dead tissue or anything that's just dead, and to kind of make it move. Now, on to the next thing, alright? This is where things get very complicated. Now, Dave Filoni then chimes in, alright? He then chimed in by delivering this. We made sure that the ending of AHSOKA was going to be extremely powerful, and like John said, we are dealing with a big sacrifice in the end of a very specific character that we think is going to blow fans away. How that sacrifice is made is something I can't go into right now, but fans will totally get it and understand it. Sometimes a sacrifice doesn't always mean death. Let's just say that there are far worse things than death that is going to be demonstrated in the AHSOKA Tano series end. Let me just say one thing about what Dave Filoni is saying here, is that I think that this is once again leading closer to Project Necromancer. Alright, now we know that everything with the Necromancer project that was teased in Mando Season 3 is that They want to make sure that things are going to be set up slowly and that it's going to tease the next thing of what's to come. So Dave Filoni is putting it out there that even Jon Favreau said here that the good guys are not going to be in a good situation at the end of Ahsoka, and that the bad guys are going to have the upper hand. So what it sounds like is the evil are going to win this battle that's going to set up a good comeback story for the good. And that's going to set things up for Ahsoka Season 2. So I'm really interested about this sacrifice. Who is sacrificing themselves? Or themselves? We know it's going to be one character specifically based on what Jon and Dave have been saying, and what Dave says here is that there are far worse things than death. What sacrifice is he talking about that's going to be worse than death? That is the biggest question of all, right? I mean, if you think about it, could it have something to do with the Sith alchemy, overtaking a specific character that's a protagonist? It's very possible. Moving on. He goes on to conclude, when we look at a climax, we want to make it worth their while for fans, Filoni says. I seriously believe it will be the best ending out of all the projects that have been worked under by Disney that have been coming out since 2015. I really do believe that. I worked very hard on this one, and fans are going to be left bouncing up and down in pure excitement. We are setting something huge for Thrawn, and this one too, and Legends fans are going to scream, I'm sure of it. Now again, Filoni is saying here that the ending also sets up the big things for Grand Admiral Thrawn, and that it's going to really favor a lot of Star Wars Legends fans. So look, we know that everything related to the Ahsoka series, it's all about mastering the revival of Star Wars Legends, slowly but surely, but getting it out there and getting it in motion for the fans to just enjoy. The other thing about this that I think is very revealing that a lot of fans need to realize is that the climax for the Ahsoka series, not only will it set up Dave Filoni's movie, but it's also going to set up, let's not forget, it's also going to set up the second season of Ahsoka, which too is going to lead into the film. The biggest question of all is, will Season 2 of Ahsoka take place before his movie or after? Story-wise, we're talking about, of course. We do know that Dave did confirm a couple of days ago that Ahsoka Season 1 that's coming out this August is going to have time jumps. It's going to bounce back and forth throughout time. And we got quite a handful of images just about a day ago where it does suggest that there are going to be flashbacks, that there are going to be moments that take place just after Rebels Season 4, almost like serving as an epilogue, if you will, to Season 4 of Star Wars Rebels. So anyways, that may very well explain why Ahsoka the White is not seen in many of those images. So when you look at stuff like this too, guys, I think that we have a lot of things coming out of this. Given the fact that Jon and Dave believe that they have set up the biggest climax of all time, the biggest cliffhanger, I should say, of all time under Disney. Will it top the Luke moment in The Force Awakens? We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below what you guys have to say about all of this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, I would love to hear your take on the whole Ahsoka cliffhanger situation by Jon and Dave, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we